Hello everyone, my name is Francesco Brancato and today I'm here to speak about Samu Yahtzee. Samu Yahtzee is a game pitched during the Digital Bros Game Academy game design course. And the idea was to change 3 mechanics in the game of the Yahtzee and obtain a new tabletop game. In my case, you can check out the pitch and rules of the game on the website. And in general, what I've done, it's a game implementation in which the player can have the player versus enemy experience of the game. In Samu Yahtzee, the main goal of the player is to defeat several enemies and conquer the castle. To do this, what I've done it was to implement all in Unreal Engine, and to help me, since I've done everything using 2D assets mainly, I've used the PaperZD plugin. The plugin allows to, for example, create an animation blueprint or animation source and use like you would normally do in Unreal Engine 5. So for example, we have the animation blueprint of the main character, and as you can see, we have all the animation blueprint and jump state and everything. The first thing I've done was to create the dice. In fact, as you can see, we have a dice manager, which is just like the main, how can we say, like manager of the dice and everything that actually happen. And it manages all the main logic with the dice. In fact, as you can see, we have a lot of function here also, like the one that help to count, to play, and everything else. This allows the player to spawn the dice, to choose if the player wants to roll the dice, and everything else. So for example, in the spawning bounding box, we have the spawn of the dice, which is given by a number. So for example, we can spawn 1 or we can spawn 5, 6, 7 dice. And all of these dice are spawned within this bounding box. And to give a bit more of randomness to everything, we add also a torque and an impulse that is completely random to each single die. And we here also set the number of rerolls. Of course, after all of this, the player can choose which combo you want to do, and the dice manager will count all the combos and get all the values on the screen for the player. In the case of the player, we have also a lot of functions that help us, and of course we have function like the pause function, the decrease, increase life and everything, and the one that are related to the combos. So for example, when the player choose the combo, he actually read the value of the combo and he apply damage to the enemy that we have. So for example, whenever the player will have a trigger on his path, which is this collision, the trigger will spawn a BP sprite enemy, and this will be a random color. In this case I have only blue and pink. All the assets are like free to use assets. In this case, the asset for the sprite character is the red samurai that you can find for free on itch.io. And I've just modified not this version but the other version, changing only the color. If we will start to play, we will notice that we have a widget. All the widgets were done only here in Unreal, of course. So we have, for example, the HUD. As you can see, it's quite a prototype version of the game. In fact, I've just released the first version that will be tested and iterated. This is the card of the player, this is the card of the enemy, and this is the area where the player will see the roll of the dice. And here we have all the combo. Also, this card, of course, was made in Unreal Engine. So we have an enemy name that will after be chosen from a data table. The value of the health that is random, the attack value, and all of this value, so the health, damage, the number of dice that the enemy has, are considered to create a difficulty level of the enemy. The difficulty level of the enemy will impact in case, of course, if the player managed to kill the enemy, on the loot that it will receive. And as we can see, we have a data table, which is this. Every time that the player manages to kill the enemy, there will be 2 drops, and the drops will be chosen random based on the data table power up and on the difficulty level. So for example, if the enemy has a difficulty of 0, it will be only drop healing potion and an item that it's also healing. And we can see also that, for example, we have a difficulty level, a description that says actually what it does, a texture, and we have after health bonus, damage bonus, armor bonus. In this case, they are just simple bonus. After this can be expanded with a struct, for example, so the damage bonus can be a bonus that it's applied not to every kind of damage, but it could be, for example, a bonus that it's applied only on the, for example, 6 damage, and so on and so on. We have also if the item it's increasing max life, if it's percentage, and if cannot be removed from the data table. So for example, if the Onikiri cannot be removed and the healing potion cannot be removed, this means that even if the player chooses this healing potion, he can always find it. And this is quite helpful because in this case you don't have to create different instances of the same object, but you can always use the same and just don't remove from the struct that we have. Of course, like this can also be set in a different way. So for example, this can be a struct for the health bonus. But as I said before, this is a prototype version, the first prototype version I've done. So I will show you how it works the game. When the player will start, we will have a brief introduction to all the main input. So use A and D to move, W to jump, and so on and so on. Once you find the trigger, there will be the fight. As we can see here, we have an enemy that has a life of 85. It has only 1 combo, and there is a damage of 7. So now I will throw the dice, and for example, in this case, I will try to do a small straight just to be able to kill him in 1 shot. And it's exactly what happened. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it can be also a long straight. And just to show you, for example, if we will keep the small straight, so 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I want to change 1 die, I can just move the arrow to go on the die I want to change, press T, it will be highlighted with a green box, and press spacebar again. In this case, I will roll again the dice and I will get another one. Of course, this is limited, and you can see here how many reroll you have. So in this case, let's choose small straight. The player will attack, and as I said before, we will have 2 drops, and we can choose which one we want to use. So since we have lost 0 life in this combat, we will go with the sharpened blade, which allow us to have +6 to all the attacks. And actually you can continue, and this is the first version of Samu Yahtzee. In this case I will just quickly kill everyone, and for example we have the bed armor, and we can continue like this. I want to show you also one thing I've done. I've created a 3D world version. As you can see, the player still 2D sprite, so this is not changed, and the world around it's in 3D, and the gameplay is the same. So the player can also choose if you want to play in 2D or in 3D. Here it's always the same, of course, so we can kill the enemy, we can choose, and we have to progress to arrive to the last enemy. So I hope you enjoyed the game. I will upload a prototype version of this on itch.io, and I will put it on my website too. So I hope you enjoyed everything, and have a good day.